And I would like to begin by with agreeing with you that it is all really about resistance. It's 2 days from today that it will be a year since this chapter of resistance has started. The Palestinian people have been resisting for 100 years. Throughout much of the 100 years, the resistance has been called terrorism. And I think since the 7th of October, world perception of this resistance has been changing. The 7th of October, at least to me, has been the most important watershed in the history of the struggle of Palestine. First, because it has restored to the cause its essence. After decades of persistent attempts to distort the cause, to falsify the nature of the cause, on the 7th of October, the Palestinian cause was reinstated to its essence, that it has never been a territorial dispute. It has never been a religious dispute. All the talk about Jews and Muslims having a fight over a piece of land is bullshit. Nothing to do with the facts of history. Actually, until the onset of Zionism, which is a European movement, which is the other coin of European anti-Semitism, because when the Zionists started their movement, the majority of the Jews in the world were opposed to them. They saw them as the anti-Semites. Whereas Jews across the Arab world and much of the Muslim world had been living in peace and harmony for more than 13 centuries. And it's not about a Palestinian state. Who gives a damn about a Palestinian state? Another stupid, failing Arab state. We already have 22 or 23 of them, created by the colonial powers. This is not to my grandparents, to my parents, to me, to the generation of my children. It's not about a state. It's about freedom and dignity. This is what it is. This is what it is. What is then this cause is about? It's about standing up to imperialism. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's why I keep insisting upon my students, upon my children, upon my grandchildren to read history. Not just the history of Palestine, but also the history of similar causes. Vietnam, Algeria, South Africa, Afghanistan, Latin America, much of Africa, much of Asia. This is a continuation of the struggle against Western imperialism. That's what it is. At the very core of this imperialism is racism. Look at the media. Look at the bloody BBC. Look at the mainstream media, and luckily we have the social media which has broken the monopoly. Look at the mainstream media and how they treat the Palestinians. As if the Palestinians do not deserve humanity. It's just the same mentality. The colonial mentality that treated the nations of the world, from the so-called direct Indians of America, to the Aborigines of Australia and New Zealand, to all the oppressed peoples of the world. They don't see us as equal human beings. It's racism, right at the core of it. And Zionism is the most racist manifestation of this imperialist project. Now, what else has happened since the 7th of October? The eyes of the world have been opened the new generation, the students at Harvard, at Columbia, at Oxford, Cambridge, the Sorbonne, throughout the Western Hemisphere, the young generation, students the age of my children and grandchildren, are now opening their eyes to the facts of this struggle. And the rulers, the decision makers in London, in Washington, in Paris, in Berlin, across the Western world are terrified. They are terrified because their children in 10 years' time will take over and they will see the world differently. They will stand by the truth and justice of Islam. They are so horrified. They are so horrified at Downing Street, at the White House, because they see that the next generation will not do the things that they've been doing. And that's why the world is changing. And that's why the 7th of October was the beginning of the change of the world order that was produced after the Second World War. A world order that is so unjust, that is so oppressive, that is so racist. This world order is going to change. And we will have the honor of having joined the process of changing it. Let's all be part of a global movement against Zionism, against imperialism, just like the South Africans gained a global movement against apartheid. Thank you very much.